Hello dear students, this is RAKSHA SHETTY and you're watching Edubassa, your homely learning channel. So in the last video we learned about the changes in the states of matter. Today in this video we will be concentrating on the last part of this chapter called as evaporation. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So these are the content parts of today's video. We will be learning about the introduction of evaporation, factors affecting evaporation. We will also be learning about the activity related to this and how does evaporation causes cooling and the applications in the daily life, including water droplets on the cold glass. So yes, let's get into the video. So the first is the introduction part. So the change of liquid into vapors below the boiling point is called as evaporation. Okay, so what is evaporation? Evaporation is nothing but the liquid is changed. The state of the liquid is changed to which state? Vapor state when below the boiling point. So that is called as evaporation. Below the boiling point, the liquids that is been converted into the vapor state, that is called as evaporation. For example, if I am keeping the vessel filled with water in the open atmosphere, what happens? In the surface, whatever the particles of the liquids are present, so these particles of the liquids, whichever is present on the surface, they will be converted into which state? Vapor state at any temperature but below the boiling point. Okay, below the boiling point at any temperature is said to be what? Evaporation. As I told you, it happens at any temperature. It is going to take place at any temperature. So these are the examples. First, the water left uncovered is going to dry up. So the water which is been not covered is going to dry up by the process of evaporation. And you know, the wet cloths, when you hang in the sunlight, what happens? It is going to dry, isn't it? That is by the process of what? By the process of evaporation. Yes. So the next is factors affecting evaporation. Factors affecting evaporation. Which are the factors which affects the evaporation? So when the surface area is more, the evaporation is more. How exactly? So just imagine I am going to take a cup full of water in a very small cup, and I am going to take the same water in a bigger bowl. Okay, bigger bowl, and I am going to keep it outside the atmosphere for the process of evaporation. According to you, which will evaporate first? Yes, exactly, the one with the larger surface area, which is the bowl, is going to evaporate faster. So that is the reason you might have seen the cloths, isn't it? While you are trying to dry your clothes, so after washing the clothes, you're going to what you're going to do, you're going to put the cloths for drying, you spread them out, isn't it? So you spread them out. So why you're spreading them out? Because the surface area is increased during that point of time, and the evaporation will take place in a larger extent, hence the clothes will dry up easily. So when the surface area is more, the evaporation is more. Okay, yes. And also when the temperature is more, the evaporation is also more, faster. Okay, when the temperature is higher, the evaporation again is more. Okay, see, in the previous videos we have already discussed, when the temperature increases, the kinetic energy of the particles will increase, isn't it? So as soon as the kinetic energy increases, so what happens? It will be converting into the vapor state easily, right? So the evaporation will take place in a faster rate. Yes. As the humidity is more, the evaporation is less. Okay, slower evaporation. So if the evaporation has to take place in a faster rate, the humidity has to be in a less amount. Okay, the higher the humidity, the evaporation is more. What is humidity in the first place? Humidity is nothing but the amount of the moisture that is present in the air. So that is basically what the amount of the water vapor or the moisture which is present in the air is called as humidity. If the water vapor that is present in the air is more, obviously the evaporation is less. Just imagine you're going to keep a vessel full of water for the evaporation, and here already the evaporated water vapors are already present in this atmosphere. So now, so already the water vapors are present over here. Further, the water vapors cannot escape into the atmosphere because already enough amount of the water vapors are present here. It has to go, right? It has to go. Then only what happens is nothing but this water vapors can enter into this atmosphere. Am I right? Yes. So when the humidity is more, the evaporation is basically less, because the air around us, it cannot hold more amount of the water vapor at the particular temperature. So that's why what happens when the amount of the water vapor is more here, what happens, the more amount of the water vapor cannot escape there because its capacity is already done. Okay, the capacity of the water holding capacity of the atmosphere is like done, so it cannot again enter there, right? So the higher humidity, the evaporation is slower. Yes. Next, about the speed of the wind. So when the wind speed is more, obviously the evaporation is more. So what happens is nothing but when the speed of the wind is more, the wind speed will it will push the water vapors away. So it makes it a space for the further of the water vapors to escape into that of the atmosphere, right? So what happens when the wind speed is increased, the particles of the water vapor will move away with that of the wind. So the particles of the water vapor, whichever is present over here, that will move away along with that of the wind, with the speed of the wind. So wind is there, so wind will take away the water vapors whichever present in that of the atmosphere. So it creates a space here so that further amount of the water vapors can escape into that of the atmosphere, right? Yes. So these are the factors which affects the evaporation. So there is one activity which again shows the same factors. So I am going to take a 5 ml of water in a test tube and I am going to keep it near that of the window or the fan for the process of evaporation, or the china dish I am going to keep near the window or the fan for the process of evaporation. Now tell me, compare to both of them, in which the evaporation is more from the factors you have learnt already. Yes, I will give you time. Please tell me. Yes, exactly. The china dish is going to, whatever the water that is present in the china dish is going to evaporate fast. What is the reason? Surface area, right? The surface area is more here than that of the test tube. Hence, obviously, the water present in the china dish is going to evaporate in a faster rate compared to that of the test tube. Now I am going to keep the open china dish in the cupboard or the shelf. Now tell me whether evaporation takes place in a faster rate here. No. Why? Because there is no wind present, right? The wind is less there to hold up the water particles evaporated. So the wind is less. Right, so the wind speed is also not there, isn't it? So that is the reason. So the evaporation is less in this case, and it is again more in this case, and again comparatively the evaporation takes place in 3 of the cases as well, but it is lesser. Okay, it is less in this case, but more in this case, and less again in this case, right? Now, how does evaporation cause cooling? Yes, let us know this. How exactly evaporation? So after the evaporation process, you might have seen like the cooling effect, right? How it is going to take place. So now what happens? I told you what is evaporation. Evaporation is nothing but the surface, whatever the particles, this is liquid. Okay, so particles are arranged far away from each other, right? Not too far away from each other, but far away from each other. The force of attraction is there, which is not very strong, just like the solids. So whatever the particles which is present over here, what happens is nothing but, so in order to evaporate in the sense, in order to convert them to that of the liquid state, to the gaseous state, to the vapor state, it will take up the heat energy from the surrounding. To overcome the force of attraction that is present in between the particles. So this is liquid, so the particles are arranged like this. there will be the force of attraction. So this force of attraction has to be broken down in order to convert this liquid state into the gaseous state. Am I right? Now in order to remove that, what happens is nothing but, so below the boiling point, what happens, the heat energy from the surrounding, these particles will take up the heat energy from the surrounding, and they will break the force of attraction, overcome the force of attraction, and then will convert it into the which state? Vapor state. Okay, it will be converting into which state? Vapor state. Now what happens, all of this surface particles has been what? Converted into that of the vapor state. Now the energy is being transferred, right? It doesn't have any energy, so in order to regain the energy, so it takes up energy from that of the surrounding. It takes up the all of the left whatever the water particles are present, it takes up the energy from that of the surrounding, and hence what happens, the surrounding, which energy it is taking? Obviously the heat energy it is taking, right? The heat energy it is taking from the surrounding, and what happens, so the surrounding becomes what? Cooler. The surrounding will lose the heat and hence becomes cooler, right? Evaporating particles absorb energy from the surrounding. Energy is used to change into that of the vapor state. That energy is used to change into the vapor state. Now the surrounding has lost the heat. There is no heat in the surrounding. Hence what happens? It becomes cool, right? Yes, for example, sweating cools our body, even the sweating. Okay, so what happens is nothing but the water particles that is being excreted by us in the process of sweating, by the sweating process, isn't it? We excrete out the waste materials in the form of sweat. Now what happens? Same thing, when we are sweating, our body is going to get cool. The same process is going to take place. What happens is nothing but whatever the liquid particles is present over here, they take up the heat energy from our body in order to overcome the force of attraction, and then what happens, it is going to convert into the which state? Vapor state. So what happens when it is going to convert into the vapor state? The heat energy from our body is going to lost, and from the surrounding it is going to lose, and obviously we will feel cooler, right? Yes. Next is about the applications in the daily life. So you know acetone. Acetone is nothing but the nail polish remover. Girls probably know it, isn't it? So this, what acetone, when you just pour, or else the kerosene or petrol, you might have seen petrol, when you pour it to your palm hand, it will feel cooler, isn't it? You might have observed. Why? Because it is going to evaporate, obviously. So what happens when this is the palm? Just imagine this is the palm, rough diagram. Yes. Okay, so this is the acetone. You're pouring the acetone on your palm. So what is going to happen? It is going to evaporate in the sense it will take up the heat from your palm and the surrounding. It will take up the heat from your palm, and the liquid force of attraction will be broken down, and it will be converting into which state? The vapor state. Now the what heat energy is lost here from the palm, right? So hence that is the reason your palm is going to feel cooler, right? Yes. When you're sprinkling water on the ground or the roof, so when during the summer season, you might have observed those who are having terrace home. So basically what you do is nothing but your parents might have, during the summer season, they pour the water on the roof of your terrace in order to feel cooler. So why you are feeling cooler after that? Is because of the evaporation process. The same thing when you pour water on the terrace. If this is the terrace of your home, when you pour water on the terrace, what is going to happen is nothing but the same thing. What happens? By absorbing the heat energy, it is going to undergo the vaporization by breaking the the force of attraction between the particles, and hence the heat energy is lost by that of the surrounding, right? And hence what happens is nothing but this terrace completely becomes cooler. So that is the reason what the pouring of the water is being done during the summer season in order to feel cooler. Okay, So like latent heat of latent heat of vaporization will be more during this particular point of time, which makes cooler, right? Yes. And you wear cotton clothes during the summer season, right? Because obviously you know how the sweating causes cooling, right? Now this sweating obviously causes cooling, and when you wear the cotton clothes, it absorbs the heat. Okay, it absorbs the water in the sense it absorbs the sweat, and it exposes the sweat to the outside atmosphere. Okay, absorbs the sweat, and it basically exposes the sweat to that of the outside atmosphere, so that the evaporation takes place easily. So this is what is going to take place because of the evaporation. Now you know why after evaporation the surrounding or your palm or your body, because of sweating, is you feel cool, right? That is because of the process of evaporation, and how exactly you have understood. So next is about the water droplets on the cold glass. So what happens is nothing but, yes, so you will take the water droplet, tumbler. Okay, so the tumbler is very cold. You have put up, just imagine you have put up, what do we say, the ice water in that of the glass tumbler, and you will keep that glass tumbler in the outside atmosphere. After some time you might see a tiny water droplets on the surface of the glass tumbler, right? Why is it so? That is because, so what happens is nothing but, in the atmosphere water vapor is present, right? Which is obviously in which state? Gaseous state, right? And it is bit of warm. It is a warm water vapor. Now this warm water vapor, when it directly comes in contact with that of this cold surface of the glass, what happens is nothing but, whatever the heat energy that is present in this water vapor will transfer there. Okay, will transfer there. The loss of heat energy is going to take place. It will lose the energy. The water vapor which is present in the air will lose the energy, and the process of condensation is going to take place. Condensation you have already learned, isn't it? Condensation is nothing but, it is the conversion of the gas into liquid state, right? So what happens, this is the gas, the water vapor is the gas. When it is directly coming in contact with that of the cold surface of the glass, so the heat energy from the warm air is going to transfer. So when it is going to transfer, it will lose the heat energy, and the condensation of the vapor is going to take place into the water droplets. So hence you can see the water droplets on the surface of the cold glass. When you keep it outside atmosphere, you might have seen, isn't it, when cold place the cold you can also give the example of the juices, isn't it? When you place it outside, what happens after sometime, you can see the tiny water droplets on the surface of it. That is by this process whichever I have explained it now. So what happens in simple is nothing but, the water vapor that is present in that of the air, when it comes in contact with that of the glass tumbler, so what happens, it will lose the heat energy, and that is the reason the condensation from the gas to liquid is going to take place, and you can see the water droplets on the surface of the glass tumbler. That's about it. Okay, we will revise the topics whichever we have learned right now. So matter in our surroundings. So basically, evaporation is nothing but the change of liquid into the vapor state, so the below the boiling point. Okay, so that is said to be what? Evaporation, and it takes place at any temperature. You might have seen the wet clothes drying in that of the air, and all that is by the process of evaporation. Which are the factors which affects the evaporation? When the surface area is more, the evaporation is more. When the temperature is more, the evaporation is more. When the humidity is less, the evaporation is more. When the wind speed is more, the evaporation is more. These are the factors. Okay, and how does the evaporation causes cooling? Because what happens is nothing but, whatever the water particles whichever present in the surface of the water, when it is exposed to that of the outside atmosphere, what is going to happen is nothing but it will take up the heat energy from the surrounding, and it will try to overcome the force of attraction between the particles. And then what happens after overcoming the force of attraction, it is going to convert into the vapor state. Now the remaining water particles will lose the energy, so that is the reason it will take up regain the energy from the surrounding, and hence the surrounding will lose the heat energy and becomes cooler, right? So these are the application, the same process that is taking place when you put on the acetone or kerosene or the petrol on your hand. Your palm will feel colder, right? And during the summer season, you sprinkle the water on the roof surface or the ground so that you to feel colder. And the cotton clothes in the summer you wear, because the evaporation will take place in a greater extent, because the cotton clothes absorbs the the sweat. Yes, water droplets on the cold glass, because when you keep the cold glass tumbler outside that of the atmosphere, whatever the water vapor which is present in that of the air, when it comes in contact with that of the cold surface of the tumbler, it will lose the heat energy, and as soon as it loses the heat energy, it condenses, and the gas is going to convert into liquid. The vapor is going to convert into the water droplets on the surface of the glass. Yes, that's about it. Thank you. Just like the evaporation cools the body, the knowledge cools the mind, isn't it? Yes, that's it for today, guys. Let's meet again in the next video. So please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Until then, keep watching, keep learning, and very, very important, enjoy while learning. So enjoy. See you. Bye bye.